So what is American Transcendentalism? American Transcendentalism is essentially a kind of practice by which the world of facts and the categories of common sense are temporarily exchanged for the world of ideas and the categories of imagination. The point of this exchange is to make life better by lifting us above the conflicts and struggle that weigh on our souls. As these chains fall away, our souls rise to heightened experiences of freedom and union with the good. Emerson and Whitman are the two most significant 19th century proponents of American Transcendentalism. The origin of American Transcendentalism. American Transcendentalism is a form of idealism which reached America a generation or two after it developed in Europe. The movement took on special significance in the United States, where it dominated many New England writers such as Ralph Waldo Emerson and Walt Whitman. Emerson formed an informal club, Transcendental Club, to discuss matters of interest to the life of the nation. In America, it is called American Transcendentalism or New England Transcendentalism or American 1144 Renaissance. It is more of a tendency than a philosophy. It flourished in New England from the 1830s to the Civil War. The Transcendentalists spoke for cultural rejuvenation and against the materialism of American society. They placed emphasis on spirit, which is the most important thing in the universe. They believed in self-reliance and individuality, and they also offered a fresh perception of nature as a symbol of the Spirit of God.
Saul Bellow was a Canadian-American writer who was awarded the Pulitzer Prize, the Nobel Prize for Literature, and the National Medal of Arts. Impressively, Bellow is the only writer to win the National Book Award for Fiction 3 times and receive the National Book Foundation's Lifetime Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters in 1990. Due to the outstanding achievements, Bellow is widely regarded as one of the 20th century greatest author, and his best-known works include Henderson the Rain King. And according to Bellow, Eugene Henderson was the one most like himself. And Bellow's fiction and principal characters reflects his own yearning for transcendence, a battle to overcome not just ghetto conditions, but also ghetto psychosis. Henderson the Rain King entangles on a spiritual journey in search of the meaning of peace. A graduate of an Ivy League university and a multi-millionaire by trade, he reached an imaginary point of no return when he was 55 years old, and thus embarks on a journey to Africa to seek for salvation and in a kind of a past and primeval land of innocence. So Henderson is a farmer who raises pigs and a veteran of World War II. He secretly wishes to become a doctor. However, his first wife, Frances, did not take him seriously with respect to his decision. Something within him constantly says, I want, which leads him to drink, play a musical instrument, and constantly argues with his second wife. Her name is Lily, and he feels that Lily does not accept reality while he does. At one point, while Henderson was yelling at Lily, the housekeeper suffers a heart attack and dies. So due to that, Henderson feels a lot of guilt in himself and thus fuels his decision to go to Africa. So while in Africa, Henderson does not enjoy traveling with his friend Charlie and his wife. So he leaves them and takes on a guide named Romilayo. So the pair goes on for many days and eventually encountered the Arnawi tribe. So this is a friendly tribe of people who are dealing with a water supply that is no longer usable due to a frog infestation. A serious result of this is that their cattle can no longer survive. Thus, Henderson wrestles with the prince named Italo of the tribe, which leads him to being accepted and welcome. So their queen then teaches him about Grontu Molani, which means I want to live or man's will to live, and Henderson grows attached to the Arnawi people and hopes to help them solve their water problem. However, he constructs a bomb to kill the frog in the cistern, but result to a very failed attempt. So due to that, he fell crestfallen. Now he met with the Wariri tribe and their king named Dafu. So Henderson became the reign king in the tribe, and therefore, which was known as the Sungu. When he raises an idol during a rain ceremony, so King Dafu attempts to help Henderson move past to the suffering he carries. So by his time spending with a lion named Ati, Henderson tries to become courage like lion. And the king also explains to Henderson that people's inner and outer appearances are intertwined, and that their characteristics and emotions are shown physically. And a group of the Wariri tribe that follows Banam, a priest, does not agree with Dafu using the lion as he has, as they attempt to use Henderson as a way to manipulate the king. And upon the death of Dafu, while he was trying to capture the lion, which he thought contained the spirit of his father, Henderson rises to the position of the king by virtue of having been the Sungu. So Henderson was very saddened with the death of King Dafu, and since he does not trust Bunam and his followers, Henderson decided to leave Wariri. So he departs with Romilayu and a lion cub, which in the tradition of the Wariri tribe has the spirit of Dafu. So during the journey back home, Henderson provides care for an orphan boy who he finds traveling unaccompanied. So he comes home with the realization that true relationship must stem from love. And returning to his long-held dream, he finally makes the decision to begin the training to become a doctor.
Self and spiritual nature. The elements of transcendentalism can be seen in Henderson's crisis, where he felt an estrangement from nature. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the leader of American Transcendentalism, once emphasizes the important influence of nature upon mind. Emerson said, "The first in time and the first in importance of the influences upon the mind is that of nature." According to Emerson, people need to go back to nature to restore their reason and faith. Nature is the place where people come to see their senses and repair their trauma in their mind. In the novel, Henderson is very rich and good in health. However, his material inheritance does not bring him happiness, but becomes a burden on his soul. And when he is in his 50s, he finds all aspects of his life turns into chaos. He cannot be on a good terms with his family, his body and soul are in a great position, and the anxiety over death often haunts around him. According to Emerson, nature and soul were closely related. When people estrange from the nature, the soul would lose its peace and order. The same view is reflected by Bellow in the novel Henderson the Rain King, when Henderson said, "My spirit was awake and it welcomed life anew. And also when he said that he is eager to know how it will be now that the sleep is burst. These excerpts highlighted Emerson's view on the spiritual accomplishment through the metaphors of sleep and wakefulness. Henderson's chaotic life and mental crisis partly result from the highly industrialized post-war America, where nature has been tamed and people have been estranged from the nature. To seek the remedy for the rest of his life, Henderson escapes from America and flies to the remote continent of Africa. As for Henderson, a change of place may offer a cure for his mental crisis and disorderly life. He first tried to go to Europe, spending a year in France, but the results of European trip are dismal. He realizes that only Africa is as a non-industrialized place that has largely escaped the ravages of materialism of the 20th century America. With the untamed nature, Africa has the healing power of the 20th century chaos and people's feeling of alienation. It is binary opposition of America. It is a symbolic of nature. Thus, it becomes the only ideal place that can relieve the madness and disorder. Henderson firstly is inspired by the mysterious natural scene. The exposure to natural scenes makes him realize the beauty and grace of nature. The experiences in the two tribes helps him gain the wisdom of life and help him overcome the anxiety over death. Henderson's realization of the totality of life symbolizes that he is mature in mind. Thus, his journey in Africa is a journey to nature and depth of soul. In other words, Henderson's journey in Africa is a successful journey in transcendence.
Henderson the Rain King uses death and immortality thematically, yet largely it is about man's overall quest in life. So the novel discusses the belief that man is mortal physically but subject to death, yet the spirit is immortal and independent to death. So in relation to his dead parents, whom he tries to reach by playing on a violin inherited from his dead father, Henderson said, "Oh, Father Pa, do you recognize the sounds? This is me, Jean, on your violin trying to reach you." So it is an irony for Henderson to think of death as immortal, but he has never been able to convince himself that the dead are utterly dead. And he believed that although his parents are physically dead, they are alive spiritually and capable to listen to him and his music. So similarly, Shakespeare in many of his sonnets described immortality through remembrance of the dead. For example, in Sonnet 81, Shakespeare quotes, "You still shall live, such virtue hath my pen," which has provided an extended meaning to immortality.
Self and society. The next transcendental element that can be seen in the Henderson the Rain King is self and society. At the beginning of the novel, Henderson makes a comparison between his past life and also his present life. Henderson's travel among the two tribes and especially his encounter with the king brings him into direct confrontation with death and helps him overcome the opposition between body and soul. Yet the paradoxical effect of such experience is to awaken him to reality, sustained by the absolute power of love. Henderson is not fond of solitude. Henderson's return to his family and society not only proves his high value of people's mutual love and union, but also is a proof that Bellows surpassed Emerson's theory of transcendentalism in the respect of his denial of union. An example can be seen through the Henderson the Rain King when Henderson complained to his son Edward about going too much with the crowd and for sacrificing himself for society. However, Henderson also complained about the tendency of isolation, solitude and alienation. He believed that by doing so, it is as well as rejecting the necessity of social life. For Christ's sake, we should commune with people. From this excerpt, it can be seen that Henderson is trying to tell his son to balance the self and society. Henderson emphasized Emerson's view on self-reliance and individualism when he said, "It's you who makes the world what it is. Reality is you." He foregrounded the importance of self and individualism to create and recast the world for him which connected with society. Although he highly values individuality, Henderson realizes that individualism is an obstacle that keeping people from mutual love. Henderson's reunion with his community also reflects Bellows' transcendence over Emerson's denial of society and union. Henderson's realization of the importance of love proves Bellows' beliefs in human beings and his attachment to the brotherhood of human beings. American Transcendentalism emphasizes that the individual is the most important element in society. It holds that there was greatness in all human beings and people should depend on themselves for spiritual perfection. Bellow follows American Transcendentalism and his literary predecessor Emerson and values individuality as high as Emerson did. He believes literature should place importance of man's value. He keeps faith in mutual love among human beings and has confidence in the possibility of union with other people. In this sense, Henderson's return to his family, his community and society illustrates Bellow agreed on a balance and harmony combination between self and society.
Lastly, the novel advocates love and thoughts. As the character celebrates human emotion, it also highlights the intellect and reasons like Emerson and Whitman as they encourage love that balance with thoughts and vice versa. As an advocate of love, Henderson likewise also maintained his fondness for a reason. In fact, he is a graduate of an Ivy League university, thus emphasizing his interest in knowledge and finding the truth. However, the ruthless character of Henderson emphasizes the need to get rid of his barbaric emotions and violent feelings and restore reason. In his quarrel with Lily, he uses suicidal threats to manipulate her in following his desire. And when he said, and when I threatened suicide in Catherine's Cathedral, in the very face of this holy beauty, Lily caught her breath. The light in her face turned fine as pearl, and she silently forgave me. In his journey to Arnewi, he is given the trust to remove the suffering of the people with the frog infestation. His interest in knowledge was apparent as he said, if I knew science, I could probably think of a simple way to eliminate these frogs. Thus, Henderson emphasizes the transcendental elements of love and thoughts in his journey to Africa.
To conclude, Bellow had victoriously emphasized American transcendentalism in the novel Henderson the Rain King through the character of Henderson. The transcendental elements are projected through the self and spiritual nature, death and immortality, self and society, and love and thought. It can be implied that Bellow, as a 20th century writer, is on the same breath as Emerson and Whitman on the moral ideas of American transcendentalism as proven in the novel written by him, Henderson the Rain King.